Katz. How are you? Hi, everybody.
I'm good, Wendy. How are you?
I am so well, and I'd like to just welcome everybody to If These Walls Could Talk. I'm Wendy Stuart Tym.
And I'm Tym Moss.
Oh my gosh. How is life treating you these days, Tim? I'm loving your hair. Yeah, right?
Thank you.
You're having a good hair day today.
Okay, I'll take it.
We'll just take it, right? We live for those.
I got a few things to do yet today and tonight, so nice to know the hair's looking good.
Oh, yeah, so that hair better look good. You know, when I need my hair to look good and it's humid out, you know my secret.
Oh.
Those clip-in hair pieces from Amazon. Oh, my God. I'm telling you, $17.99, you can't go wrong. Wish has them even cheaper, you know? And people cannot even tell it's acrylic hair. But a little secret, everybody, acrylic hair doesn't frizz. So there you go.
Okay.
You too could do that too, Tim. So I am coming to you live here today from Pangea. We've had a lot going on here lately. We had an animal spirit workshop here last week with Chris Tanner that was just absolutely unbelievable. Chris is an amazing artist. His artwork was up. He does like a fantasy kind of work encrusted with stones and fantasy animals and glitter. And the workshop, you got a piece of paper and you started out by saying who your spirit animal was. Tim, do you know who your spirit animal might be?
I don't. I'm not sure.
Well, okay, we'll have to go to ChatGPT for that.
Right.
Who is Tym Moss's spirit animal? But
maybe they could assign me one.
Right. Maybe they could assign you one, but you know mine is a rabbit, right? Because
I could see that, yes.
I've had rabbits for 50 years, but it was just, I tell you, it showed you the room was packed and people couldn't wait to talk about, their spirit animals. And then, of course, there was a show where people played fantasy animals that Chris had met during the pandemic when he was helping to take care of his mom out on the coast. So when we do these community oriented things, it's a win-win for everyone. There wasn't one face in the room that wasn't grinning, right? From ear to ear, just having a great time. And people, of course, were dressed. There was someone in a rabbit costume that greeted you at the door. I totally love that kind of stuff. So what have you been up to, Tim?
Well, a little of this and a little of that. And actually, I got to see you last weekend at Rose Trentman's birthday party.
And it's funny you said last weekend. That already feels like it was 2 weeks
right
ago. Last Saturday night, our amazing friend, Rose Trentman, who is one of the most incredible human beings on the face of the earth, who spends a lot of time trying to make a difference in everyone's life. This was what, her third birthday party? I think it was the third one that she gave, and it was a very big one. God bless her.
Oh, you mean this year? Yeah. This I think was the third
birthday.
One in the past.
I give like 5 or 6 myself. It was just great because we're all friends and we were all there. Tim, I think you left before the conga line started.
I did. I saw where the dancing occurred after I left. Yes.
The dancing. I mean, we had dancing. And I think what was so great is Rose has a lot of different kinds of people in her life. She was a former boxing commissioner of women's boxing.
No, of all boxing.
Of all boxing.
Yeah.
Of all boxing.
And there was a champion boxer there.
Right. I can't remember if Rose tunes in. I'm going to make her tell us who it is. But
just a second. I can't think of his first name. I'll have it for you in a minute. Snipes was the last name. But
he was, what was Snipes was the last name, yeah? So handsome and just such a lovely guy. But you could look at him and know he was
Ronaldo Snipes. Yeah.
Ronaldo Snipes was there, Rose is like 5'1" and standing next to Ronaldo Snipes is like what, 6'7". I tell you, it was the most eclectic mix of people who all got along with a common denominator of our amazing Rose, right? It just shows you how you can bring people together. Doesn't Diva's show also happen? God, everybody was performing or having parties. Dorothy Bishop, of course, was her usual brilliant self. The show this time, besides being a birthday show, was an 80s show, which was great. because all the all the audience members knew all the words to all the songs. But more than that, this is a true test. My daughter is, I guess, a millennial. She's what, 32, and so is her fiance. And
Mhm.
you know, I love them. They're very, I call them a little highbrow, but they're very intellectual, very well read. And I invited them, and I was wondering, I wonder if they're going to get this show, right? They totally loved it. They isn't that great? You know, they just totally loved it, and they didn't need to know all the words to the song. So kudos to Dorothy Bishop. She's going to be doing also her Halloween show, which is, that's always a hoot
Mhm.
every year.
Yeah.
I like going to that better than the parade now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this weekend coming up, the 12th and the 14th, we will be in Rochester, New York,
Yes.
and we'll be performing 50 Shades of Gay we'll be doing our 80s show, takes on the 20s, or takes on the 80s.
You're taking on the 80s, and that's the Rochester Fringe Festival. If people
Yes.
are up there and want to order tickets, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Great.
Just go to the Rochester Fringe Festival and look up 50 Shades of Gay.
Oh my God. That must be so much fun. And are you going to see our amazing friend, the Chantusi, the boozy Chantusi, Margot?
Yes. Well, no, Margot, I don't think Margot is going to be there. Vivian Darling is our drag queen.
I know Vivian Darling is, but Margot's like right in Rhode Island. To me, it's like they're all a hop, skip, and a jump. So I figured
no, that's the opposite. That's a long way away. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can tell I've been in the city too long, everyone. What do I know? If you happen to come by Pangea, we've got a great art show here in the Cabaret Room, Out of the Blue. Sandra Bloodworth did a lot of the art curation for the MTA, extremely well known in the impact she made on New York. And what a blessing for her to have her own art show here that had nothing to do with the MTA. Mm-hmm. It's called Out of the Blue because it's all the wonderful sea creatures that you see, stingray, and you know what it's like when you're under the sea. Da, 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 da. So, you know what? I had to get a little tune in there today. And I had to get a little tune in there today because everything we're talking about now encompasses our amazing guest. Our guest has, since 1992, and I'm sure before that, been trying to make the world a better place. All right. She calls her whole musical production the Peace Train. She is coming to Joe's Pub with the Peace Train September 18th, which is going to be really exciting. She is a certified music therapist, a vocalist, and a guitarist. She is an amazing musician, and Tim and I love this, using her art really to make the world a better place. And
absolutely.
Writing, and it started for her, of course, with the apartheid and Nelson Mandela. But you know, now we're moving into here the issues with the border and everything else. She is what we call a stellar human being. Please put your hands together for the one and only Sharon Katz.
Yay!
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh! Thank you so much for being here today, for taking time out of your day, and loving that African mask behind you.
Yeah, all the way from Ghana she comes. Yeah.
Nice.
Great. And you come all the way originally from South Africa.
Yes, I do. That's my home. I'm a homegrown girl from South Africa.
Wow. And now, incredible. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in a small, well, by American standards, a smaller town. Probably maybe size of Baltimore or something like that, a town called Port Elizabeth on the Indian Ocean. The name's changed several times. After liberation, we were called Nelson Mandela Bay, and that was a fantastic name to have, because Mandela's hometown is not that far from Port Elizabeth. And so it was known as Ebai because it's on the ocean, on the bay. And then I recently went through another name change, and now it's named after the river that runs through our city. It's called now, it's a bit hard to say, Klebecha.
Oh my God, it sounds almost Hebrew. It sounds like it sounds.
There's a little click in there, though.
There's a click. You know, Sharon, I'm bad at the clicks, and I'm even worse at the rolls in Spanish language. So click and roll. But that is very interesting. 3 name changes and
in your lifetime.
yeah, right?
Yeah, I know.
So,
But
you're going to be performing at Joe's Pub, which is very exciting. We, you know,
yes,
it's a
yes.
great venue. What brings you to New York this time of year? And Tim and I would love to hear about the work that you're doing at the border.
Well, thank you so much. Well, I'm very excited. We've performed at Joe's Pub for maybe at least a decade, if not longer. Or gone back and forth to Joe's many times for concerts, almost annually since actually longer than that. Probably around 2000 is when we first started doing our shows in New York, or a little in the early 2000s, because I used to be based in Philadelphia for many, many years. But what brings me back, I'm on the West Coast right now, and I spend a lot of time in Mexico as well. I'm mostly traveling all the time. But what brings me back are the fans. You know, I've got a lot of friends and fans in New York, and they're coming to the show. That being said, we want everybody to come, and the concert is on September 18th, which is next Thursday. It's at 7:00, and the doors open at 6. But we have a wonderful. I hope you don't mind me just showing you this.
No, we want
to. Came up with a beautiful book. It's a songbook, and I have 10 of the iconic songs of the Peace Train in full notation for choirs to sing.
Oh, how lovely!
Yeah, it's really beautiful. And then the stories of each and every song in English and Spanish, and then with the QR code so people can go, they can watch our documentary, they can watch all the videos. We've got such a ton of stuff on YouTube, and we decided to put it in. See, I opened to the page of Mama Mary, she's one of the most amazing women that I've helped to support in South Africa for 20 years at an orphanage that she's been running. You know, these are the people that inspire me, because in her 80s, well into her 80s now, we just helping her to embark upon a new sustainable agricultural project. So,
incredible.
And this is actually the front cover of the film. Of the book. I'm sorry.
Your book, yeah.
Actually, a concert that I did in New York City in 2016 at the New York Society for Ethical Culture.
Oh my God! I went to a talk there recently. I'm on, of course, their mailing list. I love their speakers. You've been a speaker there, I'm sure.
I haven't been a speaker, and I'd like to hear about that. But I've done the show there, and this was the show. And so the book is called Songs and Stories of Sharon Katz and the Peace Train, a musical journey for a better world. It just came out last week.
I love it. And Sharon, you would be a great speaker for there. So when we're done with this show, go jot that down. I love giving tips like that.
That'll be fantastic.
Perfect for what they do there. I wanted
to tell us. Can you tell us about Sharon Katz and the Peace Train?
Yes.
Well, of course I can do that, and I'm delighted to. It all goes back to, as you were saying, you know, my childhood, because when I grew up in South Africa, it was illegal to mix socially with Black people in South Africa under apartheid. And when I was just a little teenager, basically, I happened to be at a kind of happened to be. I mean, it was like, I don't know how this happened, but it was an underground screening of, I like to be a rebel my whole life, you know, and I found myself there in the bottom of it, in the basement of a church, watching an Ethel Fugard. Do you know who Ethel Fugard?
No, I was going to, that was my question. Tell us. We always
Ethel Fugard is a renowned South African playwright. He passed away very, very recently, maybe a few months ago, actually. But he was working in townships around South Africa. You know, the whole country was divided racially, and Black people who built the cities were relegated to live in areas that are referred to as townships, because the apartheid government set it up like that.
Right.
To separate us. And it was illegal for a white person, unless you had permission to go, a permit to the Black townships. And certainly I was underage, you know. So when I saw this play, I was about 15, and I met these 4 Black actors, and I
So
became.
you went to this township by yourself without a permit?
Actually, the play was shown in Port Elizabeth in the town.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
I know where
Church.
you are. Yeah.
But I met these actors and I became friends with them after the play. And then, you know, we exchanged phone numbers and I used to meet them secretly in the town. And then I begged them to take me home because I wanted to meet their families, because I was just like this kind of kid that wanted to know everything, and I was always very friendly, and I just loved these people. I adored them. They were amazing actors. And it was a revolutionary play, actually. It was a play by Camus called The Just, that was adapted for the South African situation. It was protest theater.
I figured it was, and I would think kind of dangerous to be involved in that at that time.
Well, it was, and it's kind of interesting because at the same time as I went, so eventually I did go secretly with my friends. They hid me at the back of their cars after work, and we crossed the boundaries, and it was illegal to do that. And then I went and I met their families, and then they brought me back. They brought me back across, and I would take the bus home, and I never told nobody nothing, because I just wanted to be able to do what I wanted to do at that stage of my life, you know. But I'm thankful to them. And John Carney, if you Google him, he's amazing. He was in Black Panther. He's a celebrated actor. John Carney, Kani, still my friend today. And we actually have a little clip of myself and John. John is one of the narrators in the film, in the documentary When Faces Meet. Yeah, we made the documentary in about 10 years ago, 2015. So
that's very impressive. You stayed in touch with him all of this time.
Yeah, I do. I'm very close to him. But cutting a longer story short, that was my childhood, and that was my exposure, you know, to Black community life, township life. And I was already feeling so upset about apartheid. I hated it. And interestingly, while I was slipping out of home to go and meet my Black friends,
I love the phrase "slipping out of home."
My dad was busy helping my uncle to escape out of South Africa because things were getting very, very hot under apartheid, and the government was cracking down, and they banned the Communist Party. My uncle was working for the African National Congress at that time, Mandela's party.
Yeah.
Mandela's political party that was banned by the South African government in 1948. But this is now in the 60s, you know, because I was a kid at that time in the 60s, early 70s. And so my dad was busy helping my uncle to escape out of the country and forging passport for him. And my cousins were staying, but we didn't know any of this. I didn't know about that. I knew my cousins were living with us for a while, but I didn't know what my father was up to. And he didn't know what I was up to.
No, I was going to say that. You
kind
know,
of runs in the family.
And he was slipping your uncle away at the same time.
Yeah, true story.
It kind of runs in the family.
It's the slip away.
But in later years, you know, I traveled, and then I came to United States to study music therapy. And I left in the 80s to come and study music therapy in Philadelphia, Temple University.
You were at Temple, yeah, great school.
And I got a master. It was fantastic. I got a master's degree in music therapy. And those were the years, actually. If I had stayed in South Africa, I most probably would have been under house arrest, because I was doing, you know, starting to do my activism within music community and trying to bring people together, all different cultures. And I was actually fired from one of my jobs because I was trying to stage a musical with all the different communities. And in the 80s, you couldn't do that. You couldn't do that. So
when did you discover your passion and your talent for music?
Oh, music goes back to when I was 10 years old, 11 years old, for which I was very, very lucky. My parents bought me a guitar as a birthday present, which was so because they knew I was in love with music
Uh-huh.
And gave me a little guitar, and I was off.
So they nurtured your artistic.
They
That's wonderful.
did. And I
Wonderful.
got that from them, that
Well, you also had to have a
what I do.
talent. My parents bought me a guitar too at 10 years of age. I still have it, Sharon and Tim.
Good.
It's in the closet. It had a crack down the front, and I never developed. Tim, did you ever play guitar? Have you ever played
No,
guitar?
not guitar.
You need calluses. You have to develop
Right.
these calluses. Sharon
Yeah,
knows.
you do.
And I could never get past the callus stage.
Well, you got to persevere a little bit
Right.
past the calluses, and after a while you don't feel it, but you do have to take a couple of weeks to build up the calluses, So don't give up. Don't give up, Wendy. Even with the crack.
So you discovered your passion for music, and
Yeah.
then that you decided you wanted to make a career out of that and study at college. So you were saying you went to Temple in Philly.
I did, yeah. While I was but that was already at the master's level. By the time I came to Philadelphia, it was I came in 1981 to Philadelphia. And then in 1990, what happened was Nelson Mandela was released from prison after 27 years.
Yeah. Wow.
So I had been performing and working as a music therapist in Philadelphia, and I just knew I had to go home. And that was when I met Marilyn, who is my manager and producer and my life partner.
Wow.
It's been we're in our 34th year together.
That
But
is
I wouldn't have been able to do these projects without Marilyn. She was actually the director of mental health services in the city of Philadelphia when I met her, and she took a 6-week leave of absence to travel with me to South Africa. And we went back to South Africa in 1992, early 92. And now the whole country was changing. I was so happy to go home. I can't tell you how happy I was to go home. I mean, I really love my
country. Oh goodness.
Okay.
Foster. We will get Sharon back very shortly.
Oh my goodness. Get her back.
What a fascinating story, my goodness.
Really an amazing guest. What comes through Tim though is the passion, right? Like from early on in the game.
Yes. Yeah, she had that just the fact that she found her passion of music.
Right.
And her parents had nourished it, and to where she wanted to make a career out of it, because I want to find out how she combined, when was the moment when she decided to combine the music with the therapy?
Right.
Because music can be very therapeutic.
Absolutely can be therapeutic. Okay,
yes.
I think she's back. Yay!
We got her back.
Okay, we just need to get
just a second. Is your audio on?
Yeah.
No, we can't hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Now we got
perfect.
You.
Sharon, thank you. I thought you had taken off on the peace train and rode off sunset on it.
I'm about to take off on the peace train tomorrow, flying to New York.
Yes.
I'm speaking to you right now from San Diego. I've been on the West Coast for about 5-6 years now, doing the peace train project here on the borders. But
very much needed.
But going back to I hope I'm not interrupting, but
not even a little bit. We were talking about Marilyn, and I think this is so great when two people connect in that way. Like that other person was sent by the universe. Of all the people that you could have met, this was the person that became.
And sounds like a perfect fit too in all aspects.
Marilyn's an amazing person. She's kind, caring, and brilliant, and so the project that we've founded and formed together in South Africa, we went back to South Africa together. Mandela had just been released from prison in 1990.
Now, was she from South Africa?
No,
also?
She's from Philadelphia. She's definitely from Philly. She roots for the Eagles and watches the Eagles constantly.
Yes,
this is Philadelphia. All the way.
She likes those birds. Yeah.
Yeah. And she, so as I was telling you, so we went back to South Africa, and almost immediately, day one, actually, almost, the concert that I did, an outdoor concert that was sort of a community lunch hour concert. I met this young musician who introduced me to Nonhlanhla Wanda. I know it's a little bit hard to say her name,
I
but
can't even say it. Yeah.
Nonhlanhla means lucky. And I think we were the lucky ones.
Wow.
And she, sadly, I have to say that after our 30-year relationship of friendship and music and collaboration on the project and, you know, and songwriting and everything, we lost her 3 years ago.
I am so sorry.
2.5 years ago. I know. Terrible,
Such
terrible
a pivotal
loss.
person in what you're doing.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I know she wants me to carry on, you know.
Yes.
So that's why. But Nonhlanhla and Marilyn and I put this project together, the Peace Train, brick by brick by brick in South Africa.
Wow.
Durban. So Durban is a coastal city. It's a big port. You know, it's much bigger than Port Elizabeth. My mother was from Durban. She was born in Durban. Here's a picture on the back of the book. We look like babies there.
Hang on,
I don't know if you can see it, but...
Oh my goodness! Wow.
So this book is full of Nonhlanhla because here there's some great pictures and articles, you know, from
nice. That's a lovely book.
It's lovely. We included archival.
All aboard the Peace Train. Sharon, will those be for sale when you're performing at Joe's Pub? Will the people be able to buy them there? Great.
Yeah, and it's on Amazon and all the other book.
I'm just curious how exciting that would have been to return to South Africa and the change, how the whole system and everything had changed, and the opportunities that were suddenly
exactly right, Tim. Absolutely, it was unbelievable time of change. But when we went back in '92, it was prior to the elections. There was still 2 years, and plus years to wait for elections. And those 2 years were an incredible time of, there was basically a civil war going on in South Africa between, first of all, whites didn't want change at all.
No.
For the most part. I'm not saying all, you know, but there was a minority of us that really want to change, and we want to change yesterday and long ago, you know, the activist community and the enlightened community of the white community in South Africa, because whites have always played a role in the struggle in South Africa. Going back to, I can go on and on and on about this, but the majority were quite happy with the status quo, you know, and from the Black community, it was very difficult because the apartheid government effectively divided members of the Black community. They divided the whole country into these areas called homelands, which were not homelands, but it meant they weren't anybody's homeland. They were designated areas.
Zoned areas.
If you were a Zulu, and Nonhlanhla was a Zulu, right? She was born in Durban, but if she didn't have a permit, luckily she did, because she was a teacher by the time I met her. So she had all her permits. But if she didn't have a permit to work or a pass to live in Durban, she would have been sent to the homeland, Bantustan of KwaZulu.
Kind of like the reservations here in America.
I would say I'm sure in the homelands, the poverty levels, the lack of opportunity and employment. It's like sentencing somebody to it's like a death sentence. They can never move ahead from there.
Exactly. You got it, Wendy. You got it.
So just a little fast forward to election when Nelson Mandela was elected. Then you performed.
Yes, I did.
How exciting.
Yeah, that's so incredible.
It was absolutely amazing. But by this time, you see, this is when we put together the project for the Peace Train, you know, the whole project. We started building it. From the minute we got there, we met Nonhlanhla. We built a choir, a 500-voice children's choir.
Oh, wow. How did you put that together?
Well, we did it step by step. We had 11 choirs that were recommended to us that had won the local competitions, because South Africa is a very intense choral society. Music plays a huge role, especially indigenous music, but all forms of music, because even in the Black communities around Durban and all around the country, They also learn classical literature as well, classical choral music. I happen to be a big fan of African music. I always have been since I was a child, so I love African music more than anything else, but they do compete in all these different categories. And so we were recommended by the local arts council. I got an invitation to stage a multicultural performance when, within the first, I think, 6 months that I was in Durban. And I was like, give me this project, because no one wanted to do this project. And I said, give it to me. I will run with this.
Of course.
And I told,
was this black and white
combined? Well, they did give me that, what's the word? Sort of passport or ability to stage a multicultural production.
Wow.
Things sort of starting to change, but nobody had done anything like this. No one.
Wow.
I said to Marilyn, let's make it 500 so that it's big and nobody can deny the power of music. And so we set to work. We went for 6 months. I started working from town to town, township to township, place to place, built it with Nonhlanhla. And Nonhlanhla at the time was working at the bottom of a road. If you watch of a dirt road we call it Khamadulas, it's like in a rural area, way, 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 no electricity, no running water, only about 30 minutes from Durban, but you would think you're on another planet.
Right, nothing.
Right. So, but the children wanted to learn, and I was writing songs in English, Zulu. I mixed all the languages together and I wrote the songs, and I began to teach the songs. And then eventually we staged it in Durban City Hall. And this was in May 1993, a year before elections.
Wow.
Because elections were in April 1994. The following year. But everybody came to the concerts. It was incredible. All the political parties came, and they were all vying for power. And
right, of course. And look how you brought everyone in. What a wonderful way to do it.
It really was fantastic, because at the same time there were killings going on, because the police used to go and the army, they used to go to the townships, paint their faces black, and open fire on a township, and then it would be called black on black violence.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And Sharon, I remember when that was going on. And I have friends, Jewish from South Africa, that told me about that. And it is
horrifying.
it's horrifying and it's ugly.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're talking about it, because we should never forget that that's what happened.
Yeah, it happened. And that's what we called it the third force, because there was a third force operating, and we only have to look around us to know that is very relevant. And the third force was mobilized to destabilize the change that was happening, because the apartheid regime and their cronies didn't want to see this happening. They didn't want to see democracy. They didn't want to see a new South Africa. They certainly didn't want to see Nelson Mandela. But Mandela was liberated. He was already out of jail. So that was a huge, huge factor, that he had been released by de Klerk in 1990, February 11th, 1990. And so we got to work. And I had met Joseph Shabalala from the group Ladysmith Black Mambazo. I had met him in the United States. May he rest in peace, Joseph. And cut a long story short, we met up in Durban, and he actually came to the first concert with the 500 voice children's choir, and he was blown away. And so after those concerts, I think we did 3 or 5 concerts with the 500 voice children's choir. It was black, white, biracial, which is known as colored in South Africa, not what the designation that was used here in America, in the United States, colored, but in South Africa, colored was a biracial designation. You could be. I have an adopted son who is colored. His father was white and his mother was a Zulu. So, but anyway, not to go into too many details, but Joseph came, he saw the concert. It was hugely successful. in City Hall, in Durban City Hall. And that's when we decided to stage the peace train, because we decided we have to move the project. How are we going to move it? We'll have to hire a train. And I think I said it on an interview like this. People said to me, like, what are you going to do next? And I said, well, I think we're going to have to rent a train. And it came from there. And then we called it the Peace Train. And it really was, it became the Peace Train. We traveled on the train, 14 coaches long, 150 people.
What a story.
December 1993. And the elections were in April of 1994. And that was an amazing time to be alive in South Africa.
Wow. And just to be a part.
My hair standing on end now.
Mine too. I'm getting goosebumps. I mean, and just a part of all of that. That's some major change going on. Absolutely. Well, now we do not have a video of the 500 choir, but we do have a music video of you and the band. So if we could take a look at that real quick,
absolutely.
And then we'll come back and we'll chat some more.
Okay.
Sharon Katz and the Peace Train toured the world as South Africa's first musical ambassadors. Their humanitarian efforts continue today, most recently at the U.S.-Mexico border.
Siyajabula means we are happy.
Yes. So Sharon, I need to know, and I know Tim needs to know, what the lyrics were talking about.
Siyajabula means we are happy.
We're
That-
happy. There is
Yeah, and I actually wrote that song. It's a really good one that you picked because I wrote that song on the night of the inauguration, and we were in the township with Nontlantla at her house, and I just came up with a Siyajabula, the chorus.
right.
And that's usually what happens for me. I just get like a wave of inspiration, and it often comes just with a chant or a chorus or something like that, because people were partying, you can imagine, with Nelson Mandela's victory.
That's exactly how it made me feel. It was very
Right.
happy.
It's a party song.
Yeah, and when we had the kids performing that song, wow, there was a lot of dancing. So that performance that you just showed was pretty recent. It was in 2023, about 3 years ago, at the Barnes Foundation in
It was
Philadelphia.
at the Barnes Museum, which I'm going to again in 2 weeks.
Cool.
My friend is on the board. I love the Barnes, but I love that you performed it there. I'm sure Philadelphia went wild for this.
Philadelphia is my stomping ground, you know.
I
So
know.
we have a show coming up also in Philly, in Philadelphia on the 20th, 2 days after the Joe's Pop show.
Okay.
We're performing at a church. It's called Folk Factory, the performance venue, but it's at a church, at the Unitarian Church of Mount Airy there, and it's going to be packed because, in fact, I don't even know how everybody's going to fit in there. But the Joe's Pub, we want people from New York to come because it's really going to be a celebration. There are actually people coming from all over for that concert, from all over. They're coming from Mexico. They're coming from the West Coast. I hope it's just going to be a sellout. So
it will be.
Please
It
get
will. I'm
tickets,
sure it will.
people, and Wendy and Tim, I hope you're going to be there too.
Oh, most definitely. Most
Yeah, well, I'm
definitely.
definitely.
Now, in addition,
I totally wrote it down.
there are so many.
I want to ask you this. My husband worked in South Africa. He's a well-known photographer, and he was supposed to do the Orange campaign, Orange Communications, and they wanted him to use models. I'm telling you this story for a reason. He went into the townships, okay, a white guy with 2 white assistants, and got to know the people there in 3 days and ended up hiring them to be the models. And what was decided by the people from the townships, how to use the money, they wanted to rebuild the church. I have these amazing photographs, an archive of these photographs. But what and he brought back artwork for me. I have it I have a place in Pennsylvania. But I guess my question is, as much as things have changed from my husband's telling of it, it's still very, very repressed there. What is what you know and your impression
of South Africa today?
Yes.
Well,
in the townships in particular.
In terms of, I wouldn't say repressed. I would say that suffering the effects of apartheid. You know, because apartheid was an institution. It was an institutionalized system and legalized of repression, to get back to that word, and racism and discrimination that was in place for so many decades, you know, ever since whites set foot on the land. Actually, you know, Black people were oppressed and robbed of their land and put to work, you know, and basically to go and dig out the gold from the mines. And, you know, so there were no opportunities for upward mobilization of any sort for Black people up until 1994, when Mandela was elected. So it's really only a few years. It's only about 30 plus years. You know what I'm saying? So for people to recover from the absolute poverty and lack of opportunities is going to take generations.
Yeah.
And sadly, we see the effect of all of that in South Africa. So it's the remnants of apartheid that we're seeing.
Wow.
So that's the difficulty. On the other hand, there's been tremendous progress, tremendous development, tremendous efforts on the part of the new governments. I'll just say governments because there've been several governments. We did have a very corrupt government for a while after Mandela, not immediately after Mandela, but there was a problem with one of our presidents. But I would say that South Africa's a long way forward in comparison to United States of America.
Yeah.
Sorry to put it like that.
No, that's my reason. I love having you on the show, because you know what? I can read till I'm blue in the face. When we get a guest on such as yourself with your background, we can really hear it firsthand. And
it's a very different scenario, though.
Because I fear for where the direction that we're going in now is like where South Africa had come from, and it's very worrisome about a United States. It's not going to be very united, and I'll just put it like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, now to say that I am impressed with you is small. That's because I am so overwhelmed with you, and it's almost like if one person can help to change the world, you are certainly that one person. You are really making a difference in so many lives throughout your life. And just so everybody out there is aware, and I want to talk about your musical therapy, but you also got a BA in English, African Government, and Law from the University of Cape Town, South Africa, teacher's license in music from Trinity College of London, and your master's in music therapy from Temple University in Philadelphia. I mean, that is such a broad range of wisdom that you are applying. And again, I just want to say that I am so impressed, just so impressed with you. But now, when was the moment?
Thank you, Tim.
When was the moment that you realized that music was therapeutic and that there was a way of teaching this or harnessing musical therapy?
That's such a great question, and thank you for what you said.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I truly believe, thank you for what you said, but I truly believe that we can every one of us makes a difference, and when you put it all together, it's cumulative, and it's each one of us has a role to play. I was very, very fortunate because I had the gift, in terms of music from when I was really young. And as I said, my parents, they recognized that talent, and they nurtured it. But I was really, really young when I realized the power of music. And somebody asked me this question the other day, and I remember that my mom took me to a children's home very close to our house where we grew up. And she took me to entertain because I was born to be an entertainer. I mean, put the guitar in my hands, and I just listened to everything I could. I had a chord book. I didn't even have a songbook at that point.
The chords.
Yeah, I just figured out, and that's why I tell people you can teach yourself to play. But I love teaching.
That's how I learned to play keyboards.
Exactly. And I still do that to this day. I love teaching. I love sharing. It's all important. Every interaction, musical interaction, is important to me, no matter how big or small. But I went to entertain the children. They were all had physical challenges. And I noticed from a very young age that I was able to get them all on board in that moment. And I felt it, and I was off and running because I knew I could work with these children. I could work with large groups. And I just was off and running from then on, all throughout my teenage years. I had folk music groups, and then, of course, as soon as I talked earlier about John and Winston and Chona and the families, that's when I really knew I have to work in the Black communities as well, because by this time I was totally in love with African music. And African music in itself is so healing because it's call and response.
Right.
And I loved the call and response. So my whole life became about that. I used to go out to townships. I just feel that I knew from a very early age that music had the power to unite, that music had the power, the healing power. And in 1978, I went to live in a rural area in a country called Lesotho for a year. And I taught in a mission school. And that's when I really, really, it drove, the point came home to me, because at night, there was no electricity, no running water. I was staying with a friend of mine from Zimbabwe, who was a teacher there. And I used to go and sing with the kids at night. That was my entertainment. And I still have It's right here because I never go far away from it. I have a box of cassettes. I have been digitizing them.
Fabulous.
I've
Yeah.
arranged some of this music for choir, for orchestra. I mean, the beautiful songs that are traditional in their appeal of call and response. And I learned these from the children that I was teaching,
Wow.
and they were boarders. They were children that walked for days to come to this village,
Yeah.
to come to
Uh-huh.
school.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic experience. So that's when I really said, this music. After that, I went to study music therapy because that was when I really saw, the power of music for people.
The healing power of
Music.
music.
Yes.
Music is the one medium that encompasses a few different things. Timing, range, sound range, lyrics, like from reading, like storytelling, like it encompasses all of these different things. And like you can, I know for myself anyway, I hear a certain song, I can go back in time. It can
And who you
transport
were,
you
what
to,
you were doing.
to a specific time, a specific place, who you were with, the smell of the club, music can, it's really the only medium I know of that is able to do that.
It's an amazing medium. And don't forget rhythm, because rhythm is what grounds us on the earth. And you only have to feel your pulse and your heartbeat to know that rhythm is just essential element to keep us grounded in who we are. But then you look at the role of music in the struggle in South Africa. That was the other thing. I used to go out to the townships all the time when I was living in Cape Town, and I was a student, and even beyond when I lived in Cape Town. I used to go out to townships all the time, and people were singing about their lives because the police were coming in to move them off their land, and they would sing these songs like I mean, amazing songs, beautiful, beautiful songs. There were songs that talked about freedom and I'm in chains, release me from these chains, with just on and on and on, just beautiful songs. But people were being arrested every single day for just singing a song.
Goodness.
Sharon, are these songs in your songbook?
Some of them, I have 10 songs in the songbook. Some of them are my own compositions. We Are the Children. It was originally We Are the Children of South Africa, but I've changed the words over the years to We Are the Children of All the World. And I have it in Spanish as well. And 2 of them are traditional songs. And then most of them, 8 of them are my compositions. But they're also songs that contain certain elements of different songs that I've, like Salangwana, that came from Lesotho, actually. It's a whole world of knowledge in here. I'm very proud of this.
As you should be. It's incredible.
Now I know you have had such amazing experiences, and I'm sure this is going to be very difficult for you to narrow it down. But is there 1 or 2 either performances or experiences that you've had with music that were overwhelmingly meaningful to you?
Many, but
I'm sure.
The one that comes to my heart is, you brought it up earlier, and that was performing for Nelson Mandela.
I can only imagine. My God.
It was really, really beautiful because we performed on a number of occasions for him. But the one that was so personal was, it was a big banquet in the Durban City Hall. Again, back to City Hall. Huge venue, a few thousand people. But this was a banquet where, there were all these tables, and Mandela, we could see him from where we were performing. I had a group of about 200 kids on stage, and all the band and all the outfits and everything. I think there's a photo of that in this book here.
Oh, how fabulous.
But Mandela, we could see him, and he was getting the award. It was in 1995. He got an award from it. It was called the Organization of African Unity. They changed the name now to the African Union, but it was a very important award that he got. And Mandela was there. right at sitting at the table and watching the performance. And I had met him prior to that, but just having him there and all the children, and Marilyn actually went right to the table and he had like a little tear. He was so moved by this experience. And then after that, he wanted to meet every single performer in the choir. And he came up on stage, and it was about 2 hours on stage.
You had 500 performers.
I know, and exactly. And he bent down and he shook hands with everybody, all the choir members, and he listened to them. He asked them where they were from or who their family was. That's very much an African tradition.
Who's your family?
Now that was a beautiful soul there.
Absolutely. Are you finding you're doing work at the border now? Are you finding similarities to what you did in South Africa to now being at the border? I'm curious.
Well, there are some similarities in terms of a project that why I came here to the West Coast in just before the pandemic, actually when was it, 2018, we were invited to do a border crossing. We got funding from an organization. We had proposed, they had seen the documentary and they asked us, could we do something here at the border? And we said, of course we can.
Fabulous.
We were lucky that they funded it, and we were able to cross the border from San Diego to Tijuana. It's literally from here where I am. I'm in San Diego right now. The border is about 15 minutes from here.
Yeah.
It's right, adjacent to San Diego. So that's why it really is a border. It's a huge border crossing, San Isidro. I don't know how many people cross that border every single day for work,
working people go back and forth there. I know where that is. When I went to Tijuana, it's like right there.
Exactly. So we took the trolley, which is kind of like the peace train, to the border, and then we walked across the border. And we were met on the other side with a partnering organization that we became very close to. And they're called Promotora de las Bellas Artes. And they have choral programs in schools all throughout Tijuana, in the barrios, in the colonias, in the neighborhoods.
Right.
There was a very big synergy between us when we met.
I can imagine.
And so that's why we decided to come and live out here so that we could work with them. And I've been working with them for about 5 years now. And so it was very similar in the sense that you had children that aren't necessarily exposed to everything. They living on the outskirts of the town. They don't have access in the way that well-to-do children do have, But it was very different because it's not based on color in Mexico. It's based on, racism and discrimination it's more class. It's a class kind of issue. It does unfortunately come back down to race often because Indigenous people in all cultures, sadly are discriminated against by the society, and it absolutely makes no sense whatsoever. But I'm not an expert on this. I know more about my own country. But there are similarities, Tim, just to answer your question. There's similarities everywhere because unfortunately there's discrimination in most countries. There's been the haves, the have-nots, the issue of forced colonization, or whatever word you want to use.
Unfortunately, Indigenous people are the victims of that.
It's so wrong because they're the original people that were here. I mean, look at the United States. Talk about the decimation of people. Their land. They were living here first.
But I don't know what it is with the human condition where everybody has to feel more important than somebody else, and whether it be either racial or socioeconomical or what. But I'm so sick of that.
I personally feel a lot of it is I've worked in Africa and Ethiopia with the tribal people there. I really believe, you have all the higher ups in these governments, right? You have oligarchs all over the world. And on that totem pole, Indigenous people, and to your point, they are the land. This is their ancestral land. And yet these other groups, because of more money and more power and the ability to use that, come in and they take it away from them, or they make their territories so small that people can barely function. And you know this from Africa, you start moving different tribal people so close to each other, then everyone's got an AK-47, okay? This is going on all over the world. And Tim, to your point, you know what? I feel it's about money at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And
Power.
I feel like we're
It's
seeing
power.
it happen here now. Money and power on such a huge scale.
And a lot of times with power comes money. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Now, I do want to point out that you are a Grammy nominated.
Yes.
I have never received a nomination, but I've been on the ballot many, many times.
Oh, okay.
Fabulous.
Thank you so much. To get a nomination is
Yes,
just
you're
a
on
whole level of push. And
You get that. If you were on the ballot, you were nominated in my book.
thank you.
There you go. And we are impressed by that. You performed with Pete Seeger too.
Yes, Pete actually performed with us at Joe's Pub. So
Nice.
one year when we were raising money to build a school in South Africa, he came and he performed
that
for
was
us,
his
and he
thing.
helped us to raise the money. And I actually quoted Pete on the back of the book because he wrote this to me in a letter. He was a very good friend. He was a lovely friend that I met through my friendship with Sunny Oakes. Sunny's a very well-known producer and folk DJ. She lives in upstate New York. She became a very close friend. Her brother was Phil, the late Phil Oakes.
The Phil Oakes, of course. Yeah.
And
Wow.
so Pete, he wrote to me, he said, if there's still a human race a few years from now, it will be largely because of women like you doing jobs that need to be done. Keep on. Music may yet save us.
Yes.
Well, he wrote that. We put it. I found it in a letter because I'm packing to move, and I was, wow, look at this. Let's put this on the book.
Wow.
But Pete was a wonderful, wonderful friend. It was
Yeah.
absolutely great to know him, and
No,
an activist and somebody who really inspired me from when I was really young with We Shall Overcome and If I Had a Hammer.
Yeah.
And, amazing activist.
yes, absolutely. Now, before we go, I do want to mention your documentary.
Yes.
When Voices Meet. Tell us a little bit about your documentary.
The documentary is called When Voices Meet. 3 words, When Voices Meet, and you can. I have it up on YouTube, and I have it also with Spanish subtitles also as a separate. And it's on DVD. It's on Amazon Prime, I think, too.
Oh, fabulous!
We had that. It after 20 years of having done that. After 20 years, so 20 years later, our fans here in the United States were saying, you've got to tell the story, you've got to tell it in a documentary. We want to understand the story, the music. It was very overwhelming, but fortunately, I'm a very big collector. I collect everything, all the footage from all the shows and interviews.
I love that. Yeah,
and I had photographs. And so we went back to South Africa. We did a 20-year interviews with all after 20 years with the original participants. And then we had the most amazing editor that put it all together here in the United States.
Nice.
And we were able to, with the help of our fans, it was completely fan-funded, the documentary.
Can you imagine? That's really incredible and speaks volumes about what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that, because there was no way. Marilyn and I were living on a shoestring all the years until we got this funding in San Diego that actually enabled us to breathe, because we were always, well, how are we going to do the next project? How are we going to? After the peace train in South Africa, we ate bread and soup for a long time.
Wow.
Because we didn't have, the money came in, the money went out, We used to joke that we're the peace train, not the gravy train.
That's wonderful.
So our fans, at the end of the documentary, you can see a list that goes, the credits roll on all the people that helped us financially.
Oh,
to make
lovely. That's
so
very
it was 2015, and then we were able to get it into about 30 or 40 film festivals just through sheer hard work.
Of course,
Marilyn's work on market, and we were invited. It was absolutely great. Nontantla came from South Africa. I've been working for many, many years with a wonderful singer from Philadelphia, Wendy Quick. She's be at the show. I've got a fabulous band. The band. Wait a minute. I have to tell you about the band that's going to perform.
I'm excited. This is great.
They are so great. Eric Roberts, he's been with me. He's a drummer. He's been with me we've been together for a couple of decades. Actually,
nice.
the drummer.
Incredible.
Suzette Ortiz on keyboards. She's from Puerto Rico. We've been together for maybe 8 years or so. Richard Hill on bass, and Jan Jeffries percussion, and we have a wonderful saxophone player by the name of David Church. So it's a rocking band. I'm the guitarist. And
of course, I would expect. We had some people stop by to say hello today. Samson Destiny.
It says hello. It says hey, honey.
Hello. And
And
hey, honey.
Hi there.
And
Aldo
then,
Lighter. Oh, hi. I'm going to be seeing Aldo this weekend.
Whoa.
Actually.
there you
We're
go.
having
Hi,
dinner.
Tim. Samaj Lee
No.
Music.
Yes.
Samaj, I love that. Wow, what a get up. I love the cap. Oh, thank you so much.
Yes.
We love
I
it.
love
And,
meeting you.
now you can find out more about Sharon Katz at sharonkatz.com or Sharon Peace Train on Instagram.
Yeah.
So be sure to follow her on her social media and find out everything Sharon Katz.
And
Thank you so
September
much.
18th at Joe's Pub.
Yes,
You can go right to their website, which is always frustrating for me. Their seating chart is these little tiny dots.
And I have to figure out-
Have you looked at it?
I haven't looked at it recently, but we've got to figure out which seats are taken and which aren't. I forget which color is taken. And
Yes, right.
Yeah. That's
It's color-coded.
exactly. And if you're trying to go with a friend and you might want to sit with them, it gets very, very dicey. But we will definitely.
Oh yeah, I'll
I'm
definitely
going to be there with Tim.
I've already put it on my
Oh,
calendar.
great. Okay, I'll add you onto the comp list.
Just pick
Thank
two
you.
seats for us. Don't make me do it.
Joe's will they'll seat you. You know, they'll organize it. Through
Fabulous.
Joe's
That's
Pub,
great.
And
Thank you
they'll
so
probably
much.
send you. I love the name of your show, If These Walls Could Talk, and I just love being with both of you. It's so much
Oh,
fun
you.
to be with.
likewise.
And what you're doing is really important, you know, because we need a voice. People don't know who we are,
It's
and
our
you
voice.
actually
Right.
open that window for us to the world. So thank you for that. Thank you very much for that. I really
Absolutely. And Sharon, my tip before we go, please reach out to Ethical Culture. They're over on the west side. They're in the West 60s. They do book speakers. I would love to see you as this. I go to the speaker things. I would love to see you as the speaker there.
Oh,
yeah.
fantastic. I will. I'll definitely
but
do
don't-
that.
But don't sign off. We're going to come back.
Yes.
We'll take a picture.
Okay, see you at Joe's Pub on the 18th of September
Right. We
next
hope to see
Thursday.
you there too. Thank you,
you so
Sharon.
much,
Thank you,
Thank
Sharon.
you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody,
you.
for today. Bye-bye.